the bowstring back.
And the cog and rail keeps the roof in place to the millimetre.
So, thanks to medieval arches, mountain railways, cogs and rails, the 4 acres of steel shelter slide over the seats of Wembley with pinpoint accuracy every time. So that solved the problem of keeping 90,000 fans dry whilst getting as much light onto the grass as possible.
But keeping fans happy presented the engineers with another challenge. The acoustics.
To fans and players alike, the atmosphere of Old Wembley was incredible. Mainly thanks to the famous Wembley roar, caused by the fans' reverberating chorus.
The Wembley roar is caused by cheers bouncing off the flat surfaces inside the stadium. The designers of the new Wembley wanted to recreate this ambience, so that meant keeping Wembley's echoes. I'm on my way to investigate the effect at a rather larger flat surface. A cliff face.
Now, we all know what an echo is. It's just sound reflecting back off a surface. So, here is one. But it's the time taken between the original sound, the source, and the echo that's important.
Sound travels in a wave towards the cliff and then bounces back to me.
See, if that is more than 40 milliseconds between the original noise and the echo coming back, then the brain hears two distinct and separate sounds. But if it's less than 40 milliseconds, the brain just hears one sound. It assumes it's all the same thing. So, I hear exactly the same note back from this air horn. There it is, and the same with the gun. But those are just simple, single noises.
As lots of echoes bounce off multiple surfaces, they build up to create one big noise. And that's what makes the famous Wembley roar. But historically, Wembley is not just a football stadium, it's also a concert venue, and it's played host to some of the world's largest musical events. Most famously, Live Aid, which rocked Old Wembley in 1985.
But unfortunately for some of the music fans paying a premium to see their favourite acts, parts of the old Wembley Stadium hit a bum note, acoustically, that is.
The sound was bouncing off the walls. Back at the cliff face, I'm going to see just how bad echoes can be from music, with my car and a very loud sound system. The echoes overlap with the original music to create, well, a horrible noise.
Yeah, for music, that really is a no-no.
And at Wembley, the problem was made even worse by the curves of the stadium.
Some areas in the old stadium became notorious as the echo became focused into hot zones of reverb, concentrated by the bowl shape of the stadium.
And this was the dilemma facing engineers of the new Wembley. Designers wanted to install 160 glass-fronted corporate boxes in a ring around the pitch. But like the walls of the old stadium, they would create echoey acoustics at concerts. I'm going to demonstrate the problem with light instead of sound, and by filling a barn with smoke and mirrors. Luckily, sound physicist David Trevor Jones is with me to help.
David.
Hello there, Richard.
I like what you've done in here. It's very nice. But what are we doing with it?
We're trying to see sound.
It's ambitious.
Lights.
I like your theatrical gesture. Very nice. OK, so that's
Splendid. There we go.
Hang on, this is light. We're talking about sound, David. I know that.
This is a beam of sound. And we've got the member of the audience who's paid a lot of money to be sitting there watching the band.
Does sound behave this way? Is this straight and fair, that it would come and bounce just as this has been reflected off a mirror, it would be reflected off the window of the box?
Sound's not quite as focused. It's a bit more blurry than this, but shows us what happens in physics terms.
Yeah, I'm just assuming then that the football, which is our member of the crowd, sitting over there, is not only getting this version of it. They presume that if that light over there is the source, they're hearing it once straight into their ears, and then once again bounced off here.
That's absolutely right. Exactly. They're getting an echo that's coming from behind them. And so there's a hot zone in the audience where the people sitting in that critical area are getting this echo bounced back from the whole ring of the director's boxes, all reflecting down into this area.
Wow. And so straight away, anywhere in that area with just 7 on the go, let alone all of those windows, you can see how presumably they'd hear different echoes, different times. It's going to be just... They're all travelling different distances, and it's going to be a mess.
It's going to be the most horrible sound you ever heard. It's going to be a cacophony.
This is exactly what the Wembley designers wanted to avoid. The answer would take them back to stealth technology.
The engineers had a tough brief. Keep enough reverb to retain the famous Wembley roar, but get rid of those annoying hot zones. There is a solution, and the military use it to make things disappear.
The connection with the military goes back to the Cold War. In 1981, this top-secret aircraft flew for the first time. It's the F-117 Nighthawk, one of the early breed of stealth aircraft. The US Air Force designed this unusual plane to avoid detection by radar. Radar works by emitting and receiving electromagnetic waves.
And sound and radar waves generally behave in the same way. They bounce off surfaces at precisely the same angle as they hit them.
Normally, radar waves bounce back to give an echo, and this reveals where a plane is. But what if you change the angles of the plane's surface? Now the radar waves bounce off in different directions, and the original signal scatters. No coherent signal bounces back. And this is how the F-117 Nighthawk became invisible to radar receivers.
By applying the same laws of reflection to Wembley's hot zones, the designers could start to sort out their annoying echo.
Once again, we can see how this works with a beam of light.
David, a challenge. With this setup, you demonstrated the problem. Can you use just the same ingredients to demonstrate the solution?
Absolutely. It's very simple. We just slightly tilt the fronts of the boxes.
And as you do that, the light is moved off the hot zone.
That's right. And what we do is, with each of the director's box fronts, we angle each one just a little bit away from a coherent reflection.
OK, well, that works. I can see that works here now. But that's for an audience going there to watch a band. There were audiences, well, obviously, there to watch football matches, and they loved the roar, the echo, that big Wembley roar. That was part of the experience.
The Wembley roar. It's still there. All we've done is to spread it out a little bit. We've dispersed it. So far as the audience sitting around the ring of the stadium are concerned, they can still hear the reflected sound. They're still getting the Wembley roar.
So that's how you get rid of the hot zone and scatter the sound, but still keep that Wembley roar. You still keep the echoes. So that's how you can have your cake and eat it.
You can with an echo.
So the designers kept the echo. They just redirected it to prevent the hot spots.
As you can see, each window